في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس. صدق الله العظيم. Continuing with our topic, for the need to clean our heart from the spiritual diseases. Today, we are going to talk on one topic which is considered as the mother of the spiritual diseases, which is al-ghadab. Ghadab means an intensive anger that emanates from our heart, and it swells all the vein in our body until it goes to our brain, and we lose control over our tongue, our gaze, our hands, our limbs. And from that bad habit, if it is not being monitored properly, individuals can be destroyed, family can be destroyed, countries can be destroyed. If you look at the First World War, the Second World War, or even what happened in Iraq, or whatever it's happening, you will find that the underpinning feeling that sparks off all those things is the quality of anger. Ulama Kiram explained, Allama Maulud from Mauritania, he says an ajib thing about the quality of anger. He says that anger is an ajib word he has used, is a swelling of emotion. It is swelling of emotion. It's swelling of an ocean of emotion that manifests in our body. When it becomes unleashed, it goes out of proportion. You cannot withhold it back. It is a mass of emotion that manifests in our body. When a person gets angry, the anger indicates that he is superior. This is why he's showing anger towards other persons. And if this is not being monitored, it develops pride. It develops egoism. At the same time, a person gets angry when this anger is being done under a right reason. Then there's a quality of justice that pushes him to show anger. There is a quality to remove, to wipe off the evil that pushes on. When a person hasn't got anger, he cannot make jihad. When a person hasn't got anger, he cannot protect his family. So there is so many emotions that manifest in a person when this anger is sparked off from the body and it goes to the brain. And this is a natural thing, to be angry. To be angry is a natural thing. But what happens is when it swells our veins, when it goes to the brain, if it is not monitored properly, if a person cannot differentiate when to get angry, to let it appear, when to act upon the demand of anger, this is where the danger is, and this is what needs to be reformed. Ulama Kiram explained that anger is like a hunting dog. A hunting dog, if you don't train it properly, it can never retrieve what you need, and it will never be able to direct you in the right direction. It's a beautiful comparison. In the same way, our anger, if it is not well monitored, if we don't control it properly, then what we want to achieve through this anger will not be a good thing that we're going to do. Once Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu was salam, he was Kalimullah, and being a Nabi of Allah, he could talk to Iblis, and Iblis asked him, "Hey Musa, you are Kalimullah, you go to Mount Sinai to talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask Allah to forgive me. The mistake I did, tell Allah to forgive me." So Musa alayhi salatu was salam went unto his door and addressed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. "Oh Allah, Iblis is asking you to forgive him." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell him, "Hey Musa, go and tell Iblis, if he wants me to forgive him, you know where is the qabr of Adam, go and make the sajda of Adam." That's his qabr. And again, the anger, the arrogance that is hidden in Iblis manifests itself once more. Because the Quran says, وَكَانَ مِنَ الْمُسْتَكْبِرِينَ. He was among those who are takabbur in them. So this is a hidden disease that Iblis has, which has not left him yet. So how many years, how many millennium past, Iblis still has this disease in him. Because Iblis never had a spiritual mentor. This is a need for a Shaykh Kamil to guide us on the right path. Anyway, so Iblis told us that, got angry on that. He said, while he was alive, in Jannat I refused to make sajda of Adam. Now I'm going to make sajda by his qabr, by his grave. This I'm not going to do. But nevertheless, hey Musa, you have done me a favor. I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to do you a favor. Hey Musa, I'm going to tell you something. When a person gets angry, he becomes my slave. Hey Musa, when a person becomes angry, he becomes my slave. Today, if you look at the rate of divorce, brothers, ponder on one simple thing. If you look at the statistics of divorce in UK, it's increasing and increasing and increasing. The official statistics in UK I've read recently from a book on family law is out of every 3 marriages, 1 is ending up in divorce. This is the rate of divorce in UK right now. All this, if you look properly, because either the wife or the husband, I'm not talking of Muslim, I'm talking generally. If the husband or the wife don't control the anger, it ends up on divorce. And who suffers? The children will suffer. Family has animosity. Acrimony is developed between the two families. And then this costs the state to monitor, to look after the children. And it goes on and on and on. All the things because the person has not been able to control his anger. This is simple statistics. Like this I can give you so many statistics where the root of it is anger. So this is why Ulama Kiram says that the first disease that need to be treated when a person decides to purify his heart is the disease of anger. The Mashaykh goes to the extent of saying that one person must not get angry at all. When a person takes bath with a Shaykh, the very first thing the Shaykh will tell him, you must not get angry at all in the beginning. Why? Allama Qasim Nanadi Rahmatullah explains, he said, look at Faisal, you fold it, if you try to make it right, what happens? But you must go to the other extreme. Then you try to get it balanced. This is the hikmah of telling you don't get angry at all. Because anger has got a positive and a negative, as I mentioned earlier on. If a person hasn't got the quality of anger, he cannot make jihad. If a person hasn't got the quality of anger, he cannot stop wrong. If a person hasn't got the quality of anger, he won't be able to defend his family. So anger has got a positive side and a negative side. But to reform a person, the Mashayikh says that you must not get angry at all in the beginning. Bring it under control. Very, very important to bring it under control so that it does not develop as a disease. Because anger is cancerous. Once a person cannot control his anger, this will have a ripple effect on other maladies, on other spiritual diseases. For this reason, we must control our anger. I'm going to give the remedy that Maulana Shaykh Faizal Manjoo has given, Maulana Asfahani and great ulama have given. There are 7 stages to control one's anger, inshallah, that I am the first person that need it. So ulama kiram explained that there are the cardinal virtues that when a person ponders on his self-creation, when a person looks into himself, that there are, we did discuss it before, that's what they call the Ummahatul Fazail, the mothers of all the good nature of men. Ummahatul Fazail, that is, there are 4 qualities that man must develop in him, just as a revision. One is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon mankind the Quwwat al-Aqliyah, that is the faculty to think. When a person balances his faculty to think, his intellect, he gets a proper education, then he will have what you call wisdom. And when a person doesn't acquire the right education, he uses his intellect outside his jurisdiction where you're not supposed to use your intellect, then he will become a fool. You make a fool out of himself. So when he has a balance, when to use your intellect and not when to use your intellect, when to abide the Quran and the Sunnah, and when to start making ijtihad, then, brothers, you develop the quality of hikmah. And hikmah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, is a great gift. Whoever has given hikmah, this balance, this proper thinking, this sanity in thinking, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you wisdom. It's a great gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to come to the hikmah very soon. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has manifested those qualities that make a perfect human being through those 4 qualities. I'm going to give examples, inshallah. The second one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed men with the internal faculties is the faculty, the Quwwat al-Ghadabiyyah, the quality of anger. A soul which is irascible, which spur in man the quality of getting angry, or the appetite for sex, or for food, or these are type of things, the need that urges man, it's developed in a human being. When a person controls his anger, when a person controls the need to eat, but he controls it, he develops this resistance in him, then he develops the quality of Shari'ah, which is bravery. Without bravery, a person cannot do anything. Without bravery, you cannot stop the bad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, order the good and forbid the wrong. This is why the Quran has encapsulated this quality of shuja'ah, which is a very great quality of the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The third quality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has developed in mankind is the quality of ifat. Ifat means chastity. Chastity is a great quality that man has developed to overlook at things. The quality of chastity. We control our sexual desire, etc. Then the fourth quality, which encompasses those three things that you must have a balance, is adl. Or the adaliyah. That is the quality to have a balance, to have a justice in us. These four qualities, the quality of adl, the quality of shuja'ah, the quality of ifah, the quality of hikmah, four qualities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has epitomized in the quality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the Quran says, Noon, wal-qalami wa ma yasturun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that by the pen, etc., Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Quran, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. O Rasul, you verily have an august quality. What is this quality? Is to have this balance. If you ponder every day in our life, I said it, I repeat it again, if a person who wants to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who reads his 5 times salah, how many times he did Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim? The word mustaqim in the Arabic language means to have this balance. Allah Akbar. We read it 48 times a day in our Farz salah. And those who want to come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how many nawafil they read a day? 8 rakat tahajjud, 4 rakat, 4 rakat for ishraq, 12 rakat for duha, for salat charge. We get to 30 rakat salatul awabin, and 2 rakat salatul tawbah before we sleep. It's already 44 rakat. 48 plus 44. And it's about 94 times a day. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us this sirat al-mustaqim. When a person understands this balance he must have in him, this is sirat al-mustaqim. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the word of my late teacher, Maulana Jamil Ahmad Saab, Nawarallahu Marqada, my first teacher who told me tafsir. He said something ajib, very ajib. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Nabi, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has melted his personality. This is the word he used. He has melted his personality in the Sahaba Kiram. And when you look at the life of the 4 Khulafai Rashidin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has manifested one of those 4 qualities more in one of those Khulafai Rashidin. If you look at the life of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala, he was the person where Rasulullah didn't have anybody behind him. He was the one who stood up and said, when the people were attributing all type of titles to Rasulullah, he is the one who came and said that if Rasulullah said he went for Mi'raj, he is the truth. Something that challenges rationality, that challenges your intellect. How is it possible in those days in one night to go to Baitul Maqdis and come back? Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq stood up. He was the same one in Ghar Hira. When the snake wanted to come out of the hole to bite Rasulullah, he put his feet there. He is the same one who undertook the journey with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the same one so that the people of Medina know that he is Rasulullah. I am not the Rasul of Allah. He makes sure that he put like an umbrella on the head of Rasulullah so that people know that I am not the Nabi. He is a Nabi, because first time he's entering Medina, he finished his nerves completely for the sake of Rasulullah. It's only a person who has developed the quality of shuja'ah can display that of quality. This is a quality which is more pronounced in the Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the quality of shuja'ah. Like we mentioned last week, the first fitna that entered the ummah was when the people refused to give zakat. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala was a bit doubtful whether we make jihad on that. As Abu Bakr Siddiq said, no, we're going to win jihad. Last week we discussed it. So it's demand a person of this caliber to take the reign of Khilafah. Then look at the life of Umar al-Faruq radiallahu anhu. Umar Faruq radiallahu ta'ala, he is known for his adala, for his justice. There's so many ayat of Quran revealed by Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala. His sense of justice, his sense of balancing in his reasoning was Hazrat Umar radiallahu. His anger, how he monitored his anger. In fact, once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting with a Quraysh woman, and that was before the ayat of Farda being revealed, that they saw Umar radiallahu anhu, and they ran away. Hazrat Rasulullah started laughing. One of the Ram came, yes, are you laughing? He says, those Quraysh women, they see you, they ran away. With that, Rasulullah said, hey Umar, he's laughing. Rasulullah was laughing, looking at how people are. Say, hey Umar, if you are walking one side of the street, Shaitan sees you, he runs on the side of the street. This is the quality of shuja'ah that Hazrat Umar al-Faruq radiallahu ta'ala developed. The third quality is the quality of iffat, the quality of chastity. Hazrat Osman Ghani radiallahu anhu was well known for that. That once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting and his lungi was a bit like this. Now, Hazrat Umar Abu Bakr Siddiq came, he didn't leave it. Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu came, but Hazrat Osman radiallahu ta'ala came. Then Rasulullah says the shyness in Hazrat Osman radiallahu anhu is more than a virgin girl. Allahu Akbar. So much haya he had in him, Hazrat Osman radiallahu anhu. And Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala, if you analyze the chaotic situation that prevailed in Islamic empire after the martyrdom of Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala, how the battle of Jamal took place, the battle of Siffin took place, the hikmah, the way he handled things is ajib. This is what the quality of hikmah. I don't know whether you had a chance to read the book, The Peak of Eloquence. Those who read the khutubat of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu will understand how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has showered him with hikmah. So these four qualities that was highly manifested in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has manifested it in the four Khulafa Rashidin. These are not four ordinary qualities that we must try to get. Coming back to the quality of anger, you will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put anger in a man. It got its positive side and its negative side. It got its positive side and its negative side. You will find that ulama kiram explain that what causes anger in a person. When a person gets angry, there are four reasons. Four things that make a person get angry. The first one is if a person steals your personal thing, the primal thing of your life, like food, your shelter. It's just normal that as human being, you must start getting angry to protect them, as long as you don't go beyond limits. The second one is your position. If a person attacks your dignity, you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to defend yourself. Very, very important. I always tell Muslims, they are like Sufi, over Sufi. They are more than Sufi than the Prophet. Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, when the woman of Egypt were accusing Zulaykha that she wanted to have an affair with her slave, that's the quotas for Yusuf I'm quoting. What happened to cover up the things they were put in jail? Then the king had a dream, and they needed somebody to interpret the dream. I'm really summarizing Surah Yusuf for you. So they called somebody to call that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. If you read the Quran, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam did not come out immediately. You say, what about this criticism leveled against me by the high ladies of Egypt? Clear this out first. Look, how many years have been in jail? Me and you would have run out of the jail. But look, Allah's Nabi, he doesn't get up. Clean my personality. I am not an adulterer. From this, Mufti Shafi Sahib rahmatullahi alayhi Quran says, it is sunnah of the Anbiya. When a person wants to tarnish your image, you got to defend yourself. Once Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was passing by with one of his wives, and then there was a group of Sahaba Kiram sitting there. He's telling the Sahaba, "Hey, Fulan, this is my wife." So Sahaba Kiram said, "Ya Rasulullah, how can you say we think something like this?" He says, anything can come in your mind. Rasulullah sallam, to clear his image, even before people think bad, he had to clear his image. We have a duty to clear our image. So, a person attacking your dignity, a person wanted to whip your dignity, humiliate you. This is a duty of a Muslim not to be humiliated. We have a duty. So this anger, as long as it is not for haughtiness, as long as it is not for humiliation for others, it is just right that we defend ourselves within the limit of Sharia. This is the second reason a person will get angry. The third one, ulama kiram says, it is for specific people, for a specific matter. For example, I get a book by Imam al-Ghazali. I go on a farm, a jihad, and he shows a book. For him, this book has no value. For me, great value. But you take a pitchfork, the alim, and you break it in front of him, his life will go, why are you taking his pitchfork? He will not be able to tolerate that. But for the alim, the pitchfork. So, he will get angry on that. The alim will get angry on the book. It's a question of priority. So, a person can get angry for that. It is justifiable. The fourth reason why you get angry, the first one, as told you, is the primal need that you need. The second one is for specific, your The second one, ulama kiram explain, is for your position, your dignity. The third one is for a specific reason, specific people, for specific things. But there's a fourth reason that ulama kiram explain as to why you get angry. The fourth one is what you call ghaira. That is a word that we cannot translate, and this is something very, very important, especially in UK, where you have a free society. Ghaira is a type of jealousy that manifests in you when somebody attacks your family. Your daughter is walking on the street, a boy whistle at her. Or your wife is passing by and she's wearing burqa, and you fire some racist attack on her. Ninja, whatever people talk. For you to get angry in that moment, your ghaira, your personal feeling inside, your honor is at stake, to get angry. But again, it got to be within the parameters of Sharia. These are the four reasons as to why a person gets angry. Besides that, all our angry must be monitored. So it is very, very important to consider those four things. Now, ulama kiram goes further. They say that if you look at Judaism is such a religion which is well known for its stern justice, very, very strict in Muslim Masail, very, very strict. If you look at Christianity, the other side, Christianity tells you forgive and forgive, love and forgive, whatever be the case, forgive and forgive. Whereas Sharia is like a balance. The first one is Judaism. The second one is forgiveness. Is Rahmah. Islam strikes a balance between those two. Say no. Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi says anger should be four things. Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi mentioned four things. Anger, if you want to show your anger, to strike this balance, it must be the right place. Sometimes it's not this. Especially in Ramadan. You see, because the heat in Ramadan, you get angry, there's double heat in your head. What happens is a child is screaming at the back. Everybody's talking to you. We lose our respect for the masjid. So we must know when to get angry. Very important. Very, very important. What place to get angry. What time to get angry. At times a person is making noise. And keep quiet. We raise our voice more than him. We want to correct him, but we raise our voice more than him. There is no balance in there. There is no balance. We're losing our composure. We use our sense of rationale. This is not the way to control our anger. We want to control a person, a crowd, is the way to do that. And this is very, very important. I mentioned it in Masajid especially. The month of Ramadan is coming very soon, and we see those things. People get angry, especially in the middle or the last 10 days when people start getting tired now. They can't take the Taraweeh anymore. The nafs can't take it. Nafs want to manifest itself. And shaitan is locked. But the training effect of shaitan for the 11 months is still in our heart. We don't control ourselves. So the right place, the right time, the right intensity, 13, the level we must get angry. That's also something. Do we raise our voice when we get angry? Do we raise our voice? The fourth one is the right reason. The right reason for getting angry. Fourth thing, Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi says, we must speak properly when we get angry. We go home. Our children mess the tea. Our children mess the tea on the table. What do we do? Get angry? How we handle this situation? Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala says there are three stages to handle children. Ajib. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed him with hikmah. Ajib thing. He says there are three stages you handle children. The first stage is the first 7 years. Play with them. Because intellectually they haven't understood things. Because this is age to play with them, not to scold them. And Maulana Shafati Khadir rahmatullah alayhi in his madrasa, if any ustad used to hit a child, he will scold that ustad. A strict condition. Not today our madaris, maktab, just go and see what is happening. Only for the government who came to tell us this is the law of Islam by the end of the day. You cannot hit. Recently the law came now. You cannot even hit child at school. You cannot even raise your voice at school. We didn't need the government to tell us this. It is the Shari'ah already. But it's not being practiced in our makatib. We hit children on their face. We hit children on their back. We raise our voice unnecessarily. I know it is difficult at times to teach children for long. But if a person's purification has not been done, his anger has not been monitored, this is why you end up with that. But now, because there is a police behind your back, now you're controlling your anger. Now, we are not doing for the pleasure of Allah, we're doing for the pleasure of the police. So a person who has not been able to control his anger, this is what happens. So I was talking about Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala, says there are 3 stages. The first is the first 7 years. Play with children. This is not an age to try to make them understand. It's difficult. It's difficult to make them understand. There's one important masala comes to my mind. I'm telling you. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, when a child is 7, teach him salah, make him read salah. And when the child is 10, if he doesn't read his salah, he makes more hadith. What does this mean? Many people don't understand this masala. Many, I would say 99.99% people don't understand this masala. For a child, Rasulullah never said to teach salah at the age of 7. He said make them read salah at the age of 7, which means before 7, the child must already be taught how to read salah. Make a survey, you will find. Our children don't do dry kunut, they don't know. Leave our children, baby people don't know dry kunut that we read in Mikr Salah. The child doesn't know Surah Fatiha, Surah Wadduha, Alam Tara, he doesn't know at the age of 7. Think about it, 99.99% is a serious matter that I'm raising here. 99.99% I would say, our Muslims don't understand this. They think at the age of 6, 7 we must send them to Madrasah, learn Qaeda, etc. And we are saying that we don't have any responsibility. We put them in Madrasah and that's it. No. We have a responsibility as parents to implement this study. Then at the age of 10, 7 years is over now. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala says, this is an age to make them understand. Understanding, you got to give tarbiyah. And tarbiyah, Mohan Shafali Kamil rahmatullah alayhi says, Jannat is under the feet of the mother and the champal is under the feet of the father. Very important. This is why tarbiyah has been made the responsibility of the father. Rasulullah says in a hadith, give your child a proper name and tarbiyah, because on the day of Qiyamah, your child will be called by your name in Maidan Hashir. Very important to understand the role of the father for tarbiyah. Again, we leave it for the mother to do it. We don't want to care. We don't want to care. Tarbiyah is a responsibility of the father. According to the Hanafi mazhab, when there is a divorce, at the age of 7 for the boy, and according to certain riwayat, the age of 9 for girl, if there is a divorce, the child must come to the father for tarbiyah. Stick. I don't want to go into it, but this is a masla of tarbiyah. This is not based on hadith, based on the call of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu. I don't want to go into the details about this masla masail. There are different aqwal, different for Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, different Imam Shafi, different Imam Malik. Each one got their own dalail. So a Hanafi point of view, if there is a divorce, at the age of 7, the child is supposed to go to the father for tarbiyah. The daughter at the age of 9 for tarbiyah, to nurture them, to guide them. That's the responsibility of the father. Again, we're running away from our responsibility. How are we going to produce a good society? It's difficult. So coming to Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala, where Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala is taking us. Allahu Akbar. So the first 3 relationship with your children, the first one, the first 7 years, is to play with the children. They're immature, they are not developed. And this qudrati, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it there. The second one is, after the next 7 years, now there is a lot of hormonal changes in the body. He's going to become an adolescent. He's going to become at the age of puberty. He's going to become baligh. And that, you've got to think what is happening to this child. That he's going to have a beard. His voice is going to become thick. His sweat will smell. He will undergo a personality change. You've got to befriend him, to help him, to shoulder him, to shift from the age, from this world of childhood to the world of adolescence. Again, we fail to understand this as parents, that this child needs this help. A girl is to have experience at first pace. You know how traumatic it is for this girl. How traumatic it is to go through this pain. If the parents are not going to take the responsibility, they're going to learn it the wrong way outside. Believe me, they're going to learn it the wrong way outside. It's so important. There's many masail pertaining to hate. If we parents, we are not going to break the taboo and explain to them. Well, it's not a taboo, there's a way, but we teach them. Rather than the their home teach them, again we're running away from our responsibility. Of course, this adab, women used to come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ask about istihada masla. Rasulullah, who are we? And who are the Sahabiyah? Who are our daughters? That we want to create taboos is a hukam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we don't want to explain it, at least talk to our wives, explain to the girls, okay, you're going to have this change. At this age, your body will shape like this. This is what is going to happen in your body. Ultimately, this is what will happen. You've got to prepare the child psychology. It's a very important step in the life of a girl. But parents are not taking this responsibility. So Hazrat Ali Karamallahu Wajha is giving us this advice. The next 7 years is very important to discipline your child, to befriend this child. Then after that, you become a human being. Again, an adult. That's very important to understand the concept of adulthood in Islam and the concept of adulthood in the secular mind. Don't be trapped. Let us not be trapped in the concept of childhood according to the Western way of thinking. According to the Western way of thinking, they have put the age of 18. If you look at the life of great Sahabi like Usama radiallahu ta'ala, at the age of 17 he was a general of an army. He went to conquer Persia at the age of 17. You take the life of Harun al-Rashid radiallahu alayhi rahmah, who was a Khalifa at the age of 22. He went to conquer Syria. Great personality. Our concept of adulthood, those brothers who came from India will realize it will be not far. You go to Mewat, which is not far from Delhi. At the age of 15, a girl is ready to look after. This is one of the reasons we see a Mewati in Tabligh Jamaat. Because the woman folk is in charge of the fields, of the agriculture, so they can't go in Jamaat. Right? At the age of 15, when I went there, you hardly find any girl. They are already booked. They have been trained to cook, to look after the buffalo because their life rotates around the buffalo, to milk, to gather this dung because there is no electricity there, they use it for electricity there, etc. At the age of 15, the girl is already trained to handle a house. Here, a girl who goes to university can't even make a cup of tea. So the concept of what is adulthood is how we want our child to be an adult. It's not what the law is dictating us. It's what we are creating our environment, how much control we have over our environment. This is what Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala is telling us, that the 3 stages to handle our children. So getting angry with children, there are masail on that, how we must monitor our children, how we tarbiyat our children, all this has to do with anger. Bottom line, if a person has too much anger, it will be difficult to make tarbiyah of the children. The impression you create on the child, the first 7 years, whatever you put in the child's mind will stay with him the rest of their life. If we as fathers, we're going to show this irascible character, this cholerous nature, just getting angry on petty things, the child, sooner or later, this will go in her subconscious or his subconscious. He will manifest all this frustration on society. We don't realize those things. Anger is a very bad disease. Very bad disease. If we don't monitor it, we're going to produce recidivism, juvenile delinquency. All those things will come out, will manifest in society because we as parents, we did not monitor our anger, and this is stamped in the subconscious of the child. It manifests, and then now we must go by the psychiatrist, we must go by the psychoanalysis, we must go by the sociologist, and I don't know what it is we must go to understand social problems. But this is the root of it. This is what the Shaykh, the Mashaykh of Tasawwuf are telling us, that anger is the mother of all the spiritual diseases. Very important that we control our anger. And this is where, when Iman, which is the internal aspect of our heart, and Islam, the external, when a person combines this, has a balance in those things, then, coming back to the concept of a balance, then you become a muhsin, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Wallahu yuhibbul muhsinin, Allah loves the muhsin. Who is a muhsin? A muhsin is a person who is excellent in his worship and his character. A muhsin is a person who has reached excellency in his ibadat and his akhlaqiyah. Then you become muhib in the sight of Allah. You become the beloved in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Coming back to what we were saying, that Maulana Shaykh Faizal was giving 7 reasons as to how we control ourselves. Before I go there, there's one simple thing I want to show you on anger. Once a person went to his Shaykh and asked him, is it true that the different wali of Allah, the Sufis, have different colors? They vary in the temperament. Or is it the same? The Shaykh said, don't ask this question. He said, no, I want to know. So the Shaykh told him, go to such places. You will find 3 people doing zikr. Go and give each one a stroke. They did. So you went to the first one and give him one shot. The man continued to zikr. He hit the second one. The second one come and give you the same. Going back. He hit the third one. The third one turned. Oh brother, did you get hurt when you hit him? He didn't understand. He went to the Shaykh and told him, this is what has happened. The Shaykh told him, the first one when you hit him, look how anger, the waves of anger, the frequency changes from person to person. The first one, when he got angry, what was happening was, he thought that the pain that I've got is gone. You cannot retrieve it again. Why should I turn back and take my revenge and waste my time fighting with him? Let me make my zikr. And most Allah, forgive him. The second one, who hit him, why he hit him back? The Shaykh told him, he hit you back to save you. Because the Quran says that when a person harm you, it's ayat of the Quran, when a person harm you, hit him the same amount. And then he asked you, did you hit you the same intensity? He said, yes. He says he hit you the same intensity because if you harm somebody who is an Ahlullah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take wrath on you. Allah's wrath can come on you to save you from the wrath of Allah. This is what he did. And the third one, he had a different approach. He's so soft-hearted. He overlooked what you did to him. Maybe by hitting him, maybe he thought low of himself and he thought good for you. This is why he showed his anger differently. So the quality of anger, 3 different wali of Allah, different engages the zikr, askar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, different manifestation. This is how askar has its effect on us. There is an important point raised by, in another book I read is, when a person a Sahabi came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and asked Rasulullah, oh Rasulullah, give me an advice. Rasulullah sallallahu says, La taqfa, don't get angry. Give me again. He said, don't give me too many advice, give me one advice. Rasulullah says, don't get angry. Another hadith, a Sahabi asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah, what's the worst thing that a man can have from Allah? He says, the wrath of Allah. The wrath of Allah. Then he asked Rasulullah, how can I avoid it? He says, do not get angry. From there, ulama kiram explains that our action, there's a direct correlation of our action and how it's being reprimanded in this world itself. And ponder upon the word of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This Sahabi wanted a simple, straightforward advice from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there are so many Rasulullah could have given, don't eat too much, don't make but there's so many advices Rasulullah could have told him. But Rasulullah has pinpointed the disease that will lead to other things, is anger. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, don't get angry. From there you can see that our anger, which spill over on our actions, has a direct correlation how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will treat us. So this is why it's very important that we control our anger. Now, how do we control our anger? Madrasah Arabia Islamiyyah and the great ulama has given about 7 steps that we must do to control our anger. The first one is very, very important, is we have to remember that if I get angry and I show my anger, right, I would disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the ayat that I have quoted earlier on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says those who stand secretly for Allah or openly, or in prosperity or adversity, and those who swallow their anger and overlook what people have done. So from that, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has praised those people who eat their anger, who control their anger. As I told you earlier, you've got to understand that anger is something natural. It comes in a person. The four things that we discussed earlier on will bring anger in a person. It comes in hadith. Rasulullah when he used to get angry, he had a vein here. This used to swell. Sahaba Kiram knew he was angry. But to show the anger, to manifest the anger, this is where it is first to control it. You understand what I'm saying? When something happens, you get angry, it's a normal thing. Just like you go to the market and somebody is frying a lovely meat. Automatically spark up the desire to eat. But do you eat it or not? You control yourself because it's not halal. In the same way, the anger, it sparks up. Something happened, the causality, there's a reason, is something that makes you angry. It came, it's natural. But to control it, that's for us. So we have to understand that. It's normal to get angry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put it in human beings. And the reason Allah has put it in human beings is ayat of the Quran that we must encourage people towards the good and forbid what is wrong. That's the philosophy behind anger. So, what is important is, when we get angry, we want to display our anger, we want to manifest our anger physically, we convert it, we translate it in physically. We got to understand that we are disobeying Allah. And if we disobey Allah, and Allah gets angry with us, what we're going to do? So the first thing, that we train our mind on that. The second stage is, we must think to forgive. Because if we do not forgive, how we expect Allah to forgive us? Once, Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala, Jalil al-Qadr Sahabi, who was Khalifa of his days, what happened is a person came and wanted to ask for permission to take his revenge because somebody broke his teeth. Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala told him, forgive him. He said, no, he broke my teeth. So Hazrat Muawiyah said, okay, you got to decide, the Quran tells you can. The ayat I quoted early on, no problem. So he was going to break his teeth. On the way he went, Abu Darda radiallahu anhu Ghaliban. Abu Darda said, hold on, why are you going there? He said, it's my right. Everybody talks about the rights now. He said, no, don't do that. Because what if you exceed the limit? Instead of one, you broke two teeth. Then, or instead of you being the oppressed, now you will become the oppressor, and Allah will protect him and not you. What are you going to do? Then what happened? He quoted me a hadith where Rasulullah has said to this effect that if a Muslim hurts another, has shown an excess on other Muslims, and he forgive him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive him the day he will need forgiveness the most, that is the day of Qiyamah. Then he asked Abu Darda, have you heard it directly from Rasulullah? He said, yes, I've heard it directly from Rasulullah. He said, so we must learn the quality of forgiving. That's very, very important. At times we go home, our wife burns the food once. Then 2 days the food is nice. The third day she put salt too much. Then 3 few days is okay. Then 4 days she was not well, she didn't cook. That's a common problem with the food at home. We must learn to overlook those things. We got to understand our wives are not our cook at home. There is no hadith and no ayat of Quran that says your wife must cook for you. So no. Ask any faqih in the world you want, any mufti. There is no ayat of Quran and no hadith that say your wife must cook for you. Yes, diyanatan, between her and Allah, she got a moral duty. It's the light of hadith. This is what the ulama said. But qaza'an, legally, you cannot go take her to court to a qazi and tell her she must cook for you. Yes, she can take you to court and tell you the Quran says, you must give me food. And there's ayat of the Quran on that. The Quran says you must give me my clothing. وَعَلَى الْمَوْلُودِ لَهُ رِزْقُهُنَّ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ. Ayat of the Quran. I'm not quoting hadith, I'm Quran. So, we must learn to forgive. First of all, it's not her duty to cook for us. It's a benevolence. Her good manners in her. She's cooking for us. And on top of that, we're getting angry with her. This is a common thing we hear. That's not right. That's not how we are supposed to behave like husband, Muslim husband. We must understand that. So we must learn to forgive. If she makes a mistake, first of all, she's not supposed to cook. She's not supposed to wash our clothes also. In fact, the Masla says, if she comes from such a family where she has a maid, your duty to give her a maid. If I'm going to talk about that, she can take, yeah, love. There's problem now. We'll see what you. Anyway, our sisters know their right. For sisters who are listening to me, please understand the concept of qada'an and diyanatan. You got a moral duty to serve your husband, so legally Sharia protects you. Don't abuse of those masla that I'm giving. So this was about Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala. The third one is do not remain idle. What have you done? Do not remain idle. That is, if you got angry, do something. That's very important because anger, there are three places in our brain. Imam al-Ghazali rahmatullahi has explained that. The first one is what you call the R brain, the R stem, which contains all our needs and desires. Then you get the midbrain. The midbrain is mainly for some rational decision. And then you got the neocortex, right, which contains our faculties. You will find that either a person is very emotional with the midbrain, he's very emotional, very happy or very angry, or whatever qualities he got in him, or the person can have a lot of desires in him, or a person is overly thinking too much and he's abstract in his thinking. These are three qualities of people you see. If you study psychology, this is what you would. You don't have control over your desires, or you're too abstract in the thinking. Or anybody go home and think about your quality, which pull on the tree. Imam al-Ghazali years ago already as studied psychology. Now only they are saying us, the psychologists are telling us, right? So when we get angry, these three things interact in our brain. As I said earlier, the swelling of emotions that takes place in our body when we get angry. Hence, don't remain idle. Divert our attention. Very important. This is what Moshe Islam said. If this also doesn't make you control your anger, the next one is proven from the hadith of Rasulullah is to move away from the object that makes you angry. Many a times you find husband and wife at a time. Don't expect your wife to leave the home. You go out, take some fresh air. Or go a bit earlier in the masjid, cool yourself. Because your wife won't go to the masjid. Move away. Then when you come back with a smile, full of things. At times unnecessary, it's our fault. If it is our fault, accept it is our fault. If it is our fault, overlook it. If it is the fault of the child, overlook it. Or make her understand. Because you cannot make a person understand if they are angry. The famous saying is, if you cross two iron bars, what will happen? Fire. You are angry, your wife is angry, and both of you are arguing, it will be fire. So you must give in. Someone, either she gives in or you give in. If nobody is giving, you walk out of the house, cool off in bed. Go masjid, make some askari, some tilawat of Quran or whatever, then come back home. It's normal to get angry, but you've got to control it. So move away from the thing that makes you angry. The third one is recite tasmiyah. Rasulullah has given hadith on that. This a'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, because this also is proven from the ayat of Quran. وَإِمَّا يَنْزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. If there is any provocation from shaitan that provokes you, seek protection from Allah. And anger is a heat. Shaitan is make out fire. So heat in your body, so shaitan sitting on your head, you know what is going in our body when you get angry. So Allah says in the Quran, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان. It is very, very powerful as the Quran. Then drink cold water. Drink cold water because heat goes up, cool it off. If this also doesn't work, perform wudu. And then ulama says, if you are sitting, if you are sitting, lay down. Because fire goes up, you must counter that. Heat goes up, you must counter that. So this is why the 7 stages or 8 stages that our ulama kiram say that we must do to control our anger, which is the mother of all the spiritual diseases. Very, very important. This is a very important topic that has created a lot of affection in society, in homes, in the world, etc. because it's not being monitored. And Shari'ah is a beautiful, beautiful religion, has shown us how a person can control his anger. He must have anger, but focus is the tawajjuh of the anger must be well canalized. You stop here, inshallah.
This